You guys were so great. You blew it one time. Thank you. Councilmember Cone.
Thank you, Mayor, or Vice Mayor, Acting Mayor, all those things. I had the pleasure and privilege of sitting down and meeting with many of you who were out in the park last night. I think I was there for a little over an hour and met many of you. There were at least about 40 or so people there. I came around or came away with a distinct impression that this was definitely a nonviolent group, and that the relations actually, although you've heard, obviously some dismay about the arrests for the folks who stayed after the dispersal orders on certain nights, but I was also told that there was a lot of respect for the police, and that the police did show respect for the protesters. And I think it is important to remember they're part of the 99, as somebody indicated. And for the most part, I would say everyone up here, if not everyone, is part of that 99 as well. So I haven't seen everybody's tax returns, so I don't. But I know we don't have any Wall Street bankers on the council here. I also want to say I very much support your right to protest, and feel definite affinity with what's going on in the entire Occupy movement, even though it's still being defined exactly what does that mean. But I think somebody said it, the middle class is getting the shaft, and been getting it for quite a few years now. Well, especially in the last, since 2000, it seems like. But we definitely, at least I'll speak for myself here because we're not agendized, so I think, as I told some of you last night, we cannot actually take action here tonight. We do have to follow the Brown Act, and that is there actually to protect the public, because if we were to take action without properly noticing, that could be a very secretive government, that just basically shows up, decides what to do without telling the public in advance what it is we're voting on. So I hope you realize that's why the Brown Act is there. I would therefore like to have a report back at the earliest opportunity, if possible next week, so that we can actually discuss this and hear what the options are. I do have a question for our city attorney, if you want to either answer tonight or when this comes back, but there was reference by several speakers to the fact that the city manager may be able to grant an exemption. As I understand, the anti-camping ordinance does have an exception, but I don't know if that's what the parameters are for that. Is that not correct, that the city manager can grant an exception through a special permit for a special event?
That is correct.
All right. So we'll need to hear next week or whenever this can be agendized what the parameters are for that. There's been some discussion also of how's this, or some people obviously feel the anti-camping ordinance should be abolished. We've been hearing that for, quite a few months, if not years, by a number of people. But I want to be very clear on something. The issues are distinct here. I know a lot of you may also agree that we should get rid of the anti-camping ordinance, but yeah, that's fine. But I don't. I actually believe there's a reason for that. But I also think that it does allow an exception for special events, especially where people are exercising First Amendment rights. And that's what I want to be able to explore is what the options for the city manager would be. The other thing I guess I'd just ask people to think about is continue to be peaceful out there. I think everyone I saw was. Be respectful. The police are very good at doing their job, but they don't set policy, okay? We do up here. Now, we set a policy and we set an ordinance that allows a process. Let's allow that process to go through and not automatically assume what the result might be. As I understand, the police have been very accommodating thus far about allowing, through the generous contribution of UFCW's truck, where at least equipment can be stored overnight, 2 parking spaces right next to a park. So I do want to point that out, that's an interim accommodation, may not be what everyone wants. I look forward to coming out and meeting with you folks from time to time. I'm not going to be sleeping out there, I'll tell you that. I do camp out from time to time, but I'm still learning. I'm still trying to understand where this is headed. I know all of us have opinions on what's good, what's bad, what's gone wrong in our country. What we do up here every week is try to address things at a local level, what we can do to make our city a better place to live, to work, to play, to camp where it's legal. But to exercise your First Amendment rights are extremely important, and I feel like if New York can figure out a way to do that, Los Angeles, Seattle, Portland, Boston, Washington, D.C., I feel like this city ought to be able to figure out a way to do that. So, thank you.
Councilmember Ashby.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Well, first of all, thank you, Councilmember Cohn. That was really well put. I appreciate you doing that summary for us because it does help to understand why we can't make the decision tonight. I'm always frustrated when people walk away feeling like there was no decision made tonight, but we do have to publicly notice stuff, and you can understand that, so I hope that you do. But I wanted to speak up because he's right. I mean, obviously, at the city council level, we have so much in common with you, and we're fighting those battles every week up here, too. When money gets taken away at a state level or at a federal level, or we're fighting for funding from the federal government for a levy, which I spend a lot of time doing. I'm doing the same thing you're doing, and there are a lot of ways to protest. I've been a part of protests in my life, but probably the biggest protest I made was running for this seat, about 1.5 years ago, when, like you, I was frustrated and decided that's enough, right? I need a bigger voice. I need to be able to stand up for my community in a different way. So that was my protest, right? And I understand yours. And my commitment to you from tonight is that I will stop by this week and see you. I have not done that, primarily because, like Councilmember Cohn, although he got out there yesterday, I was in New Orleans with a delegation from the city looking at flooding issues and other issues, and it just got back Friday night, and I have kids, and I haven't made it out there to you yet. But I will get to you this week and stop by and spend some time hearing what the specific issues are. No promises on the camping issue, but thank you for being here. Thank you for being there. Thank you for standing up for what you're standing up for.
McCarty.
You're going to punch me. Okay, did it. Thank you, Vice Mayor. I just want to follow up on some of the logistics that Steve said. First of all, we're all very supportive of Sacramento as a great city where people can come together and talk about issues and protest their government, and that's what we're all about here in the state capitol. But I think one of the things is it's a definition of what is camping. And I think that you can have a vigil out there. There could be an execution at Folsom State Prison, and people could be out there with a candle for a couple nights in a row. It's a vigil. It's not camping. There could be people assembling out there to talk about what their issues are, and then there's the camping issue. I, like Councilmember Cohn, don't support just blanketly getting rid of the camping ordinance in our downtown or anywhere. But I think, this is not black and white. There's a gray issue, and whether it's a report back or directing our city manager to work with our police chief and sit down with individuals and come and find that sweet spot where we can allow people to do what we think is important here in our country and speak up and get together and share their perspective and find a way that we can find the middle ground of the effort as far as whether it's an assembly or a vigil versus the camping issue, because I think those are two very different things, and just want to see what we can do to try to mitigate this.